But the hip hop did take me a lot of places though. Like,
oh, for sure.
You know, when I was traveling as a DJ, you know, I got to travel the entire country here in Canada. I went almost the entire
Do you still
U.S.
tour?
No, I'm retired as far as DJing is concerned.
When was your last show or last time you did a show?
I DJed for a friend of mine like a couple of Halloweens ago.
Like a basement jam?
It was like a small spot, yeah. But no, I haven't. You know, I haven't really found the love of it anymore. Like I kind of fell out of it. And yeah, you know, every now and then you can play a party and rock a crowd and stuff. But I still don't.
You have the set up in the basement though.
No, not anymore. No,
collecting dust.
No, it's not set up. That's all.
Oh.
But my kids actually, my son's a producer, so he makes music.
Okay,
my daughter's thinking about DJing, so we're thinking, okay, we'll get a controller.
That would be cool.
So we're thinking about getting her a controller and letting her, you know, experiment and have some fun. And you know, girl DJs.
Did that make you smile? Honestly.
She's actually mad at me because it was interesting when my son was getting into producing about 6 or 7, actually longer than that, probably like. Maybe about 10 years ago, he got into Fruity Loops and stuff, and she's 3 years younger than him, and she showed expressed an interest in wanting to do it, and I was like, yeah, just let him do this thing, and you go do whatever you do. And so I stifled her, right? Like I kind of stymied her, and so she holds that against me now because she says, you know, she feels like had you let me back then, you know, just flourish, I probably would be rocking right now, and I accept full responsibility for that.
And you know what? That reminds me of a story where a good friend of mine, when he was young, he was really good. He was pretty much gifted in playing piano.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but his dad did not look at playing piano for his son. He wanted him to play sports. So one day he seen his son playing piano. And was like, "What do you think you're a Liberace?" The man's so young, he didn't even know who Liberace was. Goes to his sister's like, who's Liberace? Told sister, so never touched the piano again.
Right. So dad stymied it, man.
Destroyed!
Yeah.
So please, parents, careful out there.
Yeah, you know, I trust me, I did learn from that. I don't know why at the time I was like, nah. I had no idea. But that definitely was a life lesson.
You had your reason, you know.
No, I don't think I had a reason. I just think it was like, listen, I'm just helping him right now. Let me deal with him. I don't have time to teach him and you and blah blah blah. Which is such a stupid reason, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
She reminds me often.
Things happen when the time is right, and she's there now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to talk about the industry on the scene, especially Toronto.
Okay.
Do you think the industry has heard the best of Toronto, what Toronto has to offer?
It's hard to say. Toronto is on a wave right now that I've never seen personally. Again, being in this industry from pretty much the inception, it's like, you know, I've seen the city go through phases where they didn't support their own talent and stuff.
This is true.
But now you have artists who have, you know, very a little exposure outside of what their own. As I said, artists have a tremendous amount of tools at their fingertips to help them expose themselves. And so you have these artists that are getting no video play, no art radio play, no love, and they're selling out places like the Phoenix on the strength of just their fan base, right? That never would have happened. Like, even if you think about Chaclair, at his peak, you know, there's no way he would be selling out, you know, giant venues in Toronto. You know, he did tour. He toured a lot. And
open for a lot of people too.
Oh, he did. He definitely opened for a lot of people. But he had his own tours, like cross Canada tours. At least 4 or 5 times he's gone across the country, but not to the degree. Like, I have never witnessed people who, you know, if you went to Eaton Center and asked 100 people, do you know who this artist is? And, you know, the likeliness of everybody knowing is small. Yet they sell out venues, and it's like it brings a sense of pride to me because. It just shows that finally the city is starting to embrace itself, right?
The reason why he says it brings a self of pride is because early on, the sound coming out of Toronto, and I'll admit it, was not up to par. I mean, we had our own type of sound, but it was not mainstream up to par. Am I lying? Like,
it depends. But see, here's the thing: we've always had 1 or 2 artists that were able to rise above and get some notoriety. But the problem was it was always one at a time. It wasn't like you had a multitude of artists who were all making great music in their own areas of town or whatever, had their own fan bases, and were doing their own thing. now with the advent of obviously technology and the talent levels have come up, and the same, like if you look at a movie like The Carter Effect, where people never really felt like they could get into the NBA until Vince landed here and really took the Raptors to the next level, and it made kids in Toronto feel like, yo.
I think Vince just had a part to play in that. Sorry to cut you off, but it's just the Raptors having a basketball team in Toronto made the difference.
It did, but even if you looked at, the up until Vince got here, Raptors were cool, but they were still not. You had the Grizzlies on the West Coast. It wasn't like it was popping.
Yeah.
Vince put on a Raptors jersey. He had the greatest slam dunk, victory in almost the history, you could argue, of the dunk contest, and he was a Raptor. And so kids saw that, and it motivated them. So 5 or 10 years from now, there'll be this movie called The Drake Effect, where it's going to show that Drake did what he did, and he made kids believe that the dream was attainable. And it clearly was, right? So Drake did it. The Weeknd did it. Tory Lanez is doing it. Belly's doing it. There's tons of artists from this city that are doing it. And those are just the ones that people know about. There's so, like when we did
this is what I'm saying. So do you think that they've heard the best of what Toronto has to offer?
I don't know.
I personally don't think so, because I know some of the underground artists out there.
Well, that's great then. If we have arguably one of the biggest artists on the planet, if not the biggest artist on the planet from our city, and there's still a next man who's going to eventually become better than him, then I'm all for that.
The support is not there. Like I saw when I was incarcerated, when this was going on with ATL, when they blew up. It seemed like everybody supported each other.
But that's the infrastructure. That's the infrastructure. But that's the infrastructure. You got to remember, ATL had the luxury. I'm going to call it the luxury of American labels knowing the value of black music and signing these artists, developing these artists, supporting these artists, and they had an infrastructure in the States from a black radio standpoint, from black video and black television standpoint. We don't have that. We have one station in the entire country that plays black music, right? We have no TV that is dedicated to black culture or black music.
Black, quote unquote. Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think the term urban is stupid. So I don't know what you want me to call it.
No, it is what it is.
Right?
Well, we know what you're talking about.
I'm talking about hip-hop and R&B.
Yeah.
Even reggae, arguably. So we have no infrastructure. And the record labels out here...
At this point, with the success you just mentioned about all these artists from Toronto...
You would think it would have happened. You would think the record labels would be lining up to sign these artists and only putting these artists out.
No, not even that. I'm talking about even the radio play.
Yeah,
as far
I know.
Like,
dude,
I know you heard it. I know you hear it. There's an issue with underground artists like this.
Yeah, but see, you gotta understand, underground. People don't have an idea how radio works. Underground it's called underground for a reason because it's not mainstream, and you can't play on a radio station that is there to make money because somebody owns it as a business.
Advertisers.
And if you don't have listeners, you can't get advertisers. And if you play records that only appeal to a very small demographic, you will not have listeners. So you have to play a mass appeal amount of records. You have to play those records often, so when people do tune in, they're hearing them. And so you can't just randomly play 1,000 different songs.
But can we have a show that's dedicated to that, though?
Dedicated to what?
To those artists.
I'm sure a radio station should have that.
That guy's the Move.
I'm not the boss.
I don't know, but I'm saying the Move, for example, hypothetically should have, I don't know.
Well, I can tell
10
you.
to 12.
I can tell
10
you.
to 12.
I can tell you right now.
And I'll tell you,
the Move did something.
Crazy.
The Move did something that has never been done by a radio station in the country, let alone this city, and that was dedicating 18 hours to only playing artists from this city. We did that on March 6th with the Made in Toronto takeover. It was legiondary. People talked about it. It was great. It made me feel amazing. The people who got a chance to have their songs exposed, even for once,
that was great.
But it's not like the ratings change. It's not like all of a sudden
advertiser was knocking at your door. I understand. I understand that. So yeah,
but
we just need 2 hours. That's all. Maybe 1 hour.
But it shouldn't be even just be 1 hour. It'll eventually get to that point. When? I don't know. But I think it'll happen.
I'm going to predict it. This is the day we're going to start it. When it happens, just remember, we started the movement here. Let's get the move, no pun intended, to give us a 2-hour underground show
Well, you know what? I don't even underground. I don't.
Okay, sorry.
Me, it's like
title it?
I would just say the artists that aren't ready for prime time, give them some exposure, right? And
we call it the spotlight or something.
Whatever.
Like that.
I'm telling you, it's not like
the numbers
are
like be crazy.
I don't know.
No,
I don't know. I can't answer that. But what I do know is that the Made in Toronto takeover is not a one-time thing. Even if it ends up only being an annual thing and you do it every year on the same date, it's still something that a year from now is going to be new artists coming up. The artists that were featured, they're still going to be perfecting their craft and hopefully getting better. And we'll do it again.
Some people think the hustle is hard.
The which? The hustle?
Yeah.
Okay.
You touched on it earlier. How did you make your moves early on? Traveling, because he had to go to events like How Can I Be Down to meet all these people that he took pictures with, and sometimes they came into town and because he was a DJ, you got to take pictures. But a lot of the relationship was built because you went to.
Yeah, I have at the time I was really hungry.